News from the National Women's Soccer League this week. 4 coaches are permanently banned, including one who used to work in North Carolina.
Now, all of this comes after a sex abuse scandal was revealed plaguing the league for more than a year. Former North Carolina Courage coach Paul Riley, former Chicago Red Stars coach Rory Dames, former Washington Spirit coach Richie Burke, and former Utah Racing Louisville coach Christy Holly are all banned from coaching in the NWSL.
2 others, Utah Royals coach Craig Harrington and former Gotham General Manager Alyssa Lohr, are suspended from working in the NWSL for 2 years. The coach from North Carolina, Riley, told The Athletic, "I have never had sex with or made sexual advances towards these players," adding, "There is a chance I've said something along the way that offended someone. I do not belittle my players, comment on their weight, or discuss their personal relationships."
Well, the league and its Players Association announced results of their investigation last month, which found, quote, widespread misconduct. It was all directed at players dating back to the beginning of the league nearly a decade ago. U.S. Soccer also investigated misconduct in the league and released its report in October. Nikki Batiste talked with the U.S. government official who led the probe and shares more about the investigation.
Some of the complaints and allegations from players in the National Women's Soccer League detailed publicly how they were ignored and overlooked in favor of keeping coaches and owners in jobs.
The sexual misconduct varies here from really inappropriate misogynistic type comments to unwanted sexual advances to actual coercion by coaches.
Former U.S. Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates led the probe. The report says abusive coaches moved from team to team. Those in a position to correct the record stayed silent.
In a circumstance like this, under the National Women's Soccer League, is there such a thing as a consensual sexual relationship?
Not between a player and a coach. There is such a power differential in that relationship. It is, by definition, not consensual.
Last season, 5 of the 10 head coaches in the National Women's Soccer League either were fired or stepped down amid allegations of misconduct. Sexual misconduct accusations against coach Paul Riley ignited protests among the players. Sinead Farley is one of the players who spoke out against Riley.
Soccer for me was my safe space in my world, and something that I had such an innocent, pure love for since I was a little girl. And that was taken from me.
Previously unreported incidents between former coach Christy Holly and a player describe how he invited her to watch game footage and instead showed her pornography and touched her inappropriately.
Just should not happen. At the time of this report, the U.S. soccer president called it heartbreaking and promised action. Months later, we are seeing that. Immediately after the initial reports against former NC Courage coach Paul Riley by 2 former players, the team fired Riley. In a statement, the soccer club said in part, "The North Carolina Football Club is united together in our commitment to creating a safe, positive, and respectful environment, not only within our club, but across the league and our great sport." Just last month, the Chicago Red Stars owner announced he was selling his stake in the team. Reports of emotional and verbal abuse by former Red Stars coach Roy Dames date back to 2014. The U.S. Soccer report found that team's owner was aware of the complaints and just dismissed them. Now that the NWSL moves forward, Rachel Allison, an associate professor of sociology at Mississippi State, who focuses on women's representation in sports, among other topics, says there's still a long way to go.
These lifetime bans and the fines that were assessed to several teams are a really important point to jump off from because they are a sign of accountability. And so these actions then send a really important message that this type of behavior will not be tolerated within the NWSL and that there are real consequences. But I think this is just the starting point. This is one step in the right direction, but it's one of many that need to happen because from here starts the really hard work of actually building an organization and an environment that is safe for players and for staff as well.
She stresses the change should not stop with women's soccer.
we have seen similar stories in recent years, certainly in women's gymnastics, but also in women's swimming, women's track and field. This is a problem that's endemic to women's sport. It is not a soccer specific problem. And so I really hope that the light that has been shown on this problem through the case of the NWSL will serve as something of a cautionary tale to other leagues, and ultimately will be a kind of a motivation for change, perhaps something of a model for how a league can truly develop a different type of environment for its players.
Now we just have to wait, and we have to see what other change may come after this.